Hey, Delta Chi, Jason Sisk with the Delta Chi Educational Foundation here. I am here with the lovely Jenni Jones from Alpha Gamma Delta, and she is a lead facilitator at the As Academy. So we are really happy and really excited to talk to you today, Jenni, kind of hear your perspective as a facilitator, as an outsider, quote unquote, someone who's not a Delta Chi that is so giving of your time and your talent to the As Academy. We're just excited to hear a little bit about your perspective. So how's it going today?
Pretty good. Not so bad for a Monday morning, and it's not snowing here in Indy, so I'll get there.
That's a good start for the day. Absolutely. So we wanted to hear a little bit about you, first of all, Jenni. So tell us a little bit. I'd love to hear what or who or both inspired you to join Alpha Gamma Delta or Greek life in general.
Yeah, so I went to Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. Go Rams. There is a Delta Chi chapter there. And so I actually did not join when I first came to college. I waited till my sophomore year. I was a nursing major, and so was very much in the anatomy lab, and realized starting of my sophomore year that I wasn't as connected on campus as I wanted to be. And my suite mate and really good friend from freshman year joined Alpha Gamma Delta. So she continued to talk to me about opportunities, and really connected on the pieces of leadership positions. And so that really is what pulled me in, and just kind of experienced the whole process of getting to know different women from different areas of campus, and fell in love with the opportunity of creating a sisterhood and getting more connected.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And sounds like, so you're saying leadership brought you in. So that's something that's obviously speaks to you. Did you hold any kind of leadership positions in your undergrad?
I did. Right off the bat, after being initiated, I became our vice president of finance, which probably wasn't the best role for me, but I did it. And we still had money, so that was good. I also was our director of sisterhood. And then from there went on to Panhellenic and was our Panhellenic president. So I oversaw the Panhellenic community and partnered very closely with the other 3 councils on campus as well.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like you got a very early start into the Greek community as a whole, as opposed to just kind of seeing your own chapter, which we see a lot of folks do. They are president of their chapter, or they're certain chairs or something in their own chapter, but don't necessarily get outside of that. So that's great that you got a very early introduction to that, and we're very involved in it. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your career since graduation. What have you been doing? Obviously, you work for Alpha Gamma Delta now.
Yeah, so right out of school, like I mentioned, I was a nursing major, and so gave that a little bit of a chance before going back to school. So I worked at a hospital in Richmond, and then just was not where my passion was. It's a great profession. And so I went and pursued my master's degree in college student development and counseling. And that's from there, had grad assistantships and worked specifically with leadership and fraternity and sorority life. After leaving VCU with my master's, I wanted something completely different and went out to Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, where I was working with, at the time, the Delta Chi colony too. So Delta Chi has played a role in almost every step of my life and in my career. And I met Aaron Otto there too, because he's a true K-Stater and Wildcat at heart. And then from there, went and worked at Christopher Newport University, a small public school in Newport News, Virginia, and did that for a couple years, continuing to work with fraternities and sororities. And was unexpectedly recruited by my organization, Alpha Gamma Delta, and became the director of fraternity services, where I created our harm prevention area, and our staff there oversaw our chapter development team, and then now a portion of our leadership consultant team. And I have been here about 4.5 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, that sounds like well-traveled and got a lot of great experience from outside of your organization, only to bring it back to help make Alpha Gamma Delta even stronger. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Wonderful. Well, so you've mentioned Delta Chi's kind of been around and been part of your life a little bit, which is fantastic to hear. So when did you first get involved with As Academy, and how did that begin to happen?
Yeah, so as in fraternity and sorority life, there's usually a lot of opportunities to facilitate or be a part of leadership, curriculum, or programs that headquarters or campuses are hosting. And so an opportunity came up with Delta Chi. It was in 2012, so almost 8 years ago, where I was contacted to become a small group pod facilitator for Delta Chi's As Academy. And so I volunteered for a bunch of organizations and always loved that opportunity to meet different professionals, learn more about organizations, and also have a different connection with a group of students. So it started in 2012 at St. Meinrad. So it was a great experience from there.
That's great. That's great. And now you've kind of worked your way up the ranks even there, haven't you? And so you're now a lead facilitator. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So tell us a little bit about your current position. What are you kind of in charge of? How do you help when you're at As Academy in your current position?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, I was asked to move up into lead facilitator and work with Michael, who is a Delta Chi. And so we really looked at Strengths Finder to be able to be a part of the curriculum. And I am a certified strengths educator. So that was a great fit for me. Time to help develop the curriculum and the new programming with staff and partner with Michael as the other lead facilitator. And so we did that for a couple years, and then now with staff reevaluating the curriculum and making some new changes. And then so when we go in, we train the small group facilitators, and we also make sure that we're staying on task during As Academy. And having great conversations with the A's, and additionally challenging them and supporting them when different topics come up. So I would say my main role is being able to keep the team moving forward and also to keep the curriculum in the forefront.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're able and willing to do that, spend your time and give us your talent and your time to take care of that, to take care of our A's over at As Academy. It seems like it's a really neat program. I didn't get to experience it myself. I'm a little older than most of the guys that got to do it, so just missed out by a few years there. But so tell me a little bit about the program itself. Why do you think this is such a great program? Why do you think that this is helping our A's and helping their chapters?
Absolutely. And so, like I mentioned, I have volunteered for a lot of different organizations, men's and women's groups around their leadership programs. And I will say there has been only one group I've continued to work with over the 8 years, and that is Delta Chi.
All right.
There has just been something different that I have felt connected to, and that I've seen some outcome with the organization. And so not only are we covering soft and hard skills of what it means to be a leader and the operational side of being an A, but really digging into who are you as a person, how are you going to lead and also lead your peers, which can be very difficult, and how are you continuing to learn about yourself? Because age 18 to 22, you're only a small part of who you are going to become. And so it's been really great to see men come in kind of like, I don't know about this, and a little closed off, and seeing them get to connect with 120 plus brothers, and also seeing they're not alone in this experience, and also their experience may have some unique situations or different perspectives based on the campus culture, but that there's probably somewhere who has seen it, who has moved through that type of situation, and who can give you support and guidance. And so that has just been phenomenal to see these men start in one position at the beginning of As Academy, and then when they're leaving, have a different perspective. And that doesn't happen for everyone in that weekend or that moment, but seeing it happen with the chapter over that year time, or what's being passed to the next A, I think is so impactful. And so I would say that outside of the nitty gritty of the curriculum, it's just a wonderful time together. And there's so much that goes into how intentional each step of the program is, and even time together outside of the education and the learning, how it then continues to become that because of the relationships they're creating.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Even their time together outside of the curriculum is important. We've heard the same thing from a lot of folks that we've talked to that have been to A's Academy, other facilitators, and that type of thing that say so much happens when you're just up late watching TV, talking to the guys about this is what my life is like, this is what the position's like for me. That they get a lot coming from the other A's in the program that have either seen a different perspective on an issue they're having, or we've already solved that, so this is how we solved it, something of that nature. It's very easy to get that. So it's great that you guys are kind of having some guidance and guiding them through some curriculum, but also giving them the availability to learn from each other. Great. So beyond being a facilitator and giving your loads and loads of time to Delta Chi for this program over the last 8 years, you've also you've given us your time, you've given us your talent, you've also been kind enough to give your treasure to this program, and that says, I think, so much about the program that not only have you decided to come back year after year and get further and further involved, but that you've also decided that this program is so important that you've given of your treasure over the years a few times. So tell me what inspired you initially to give to the Delta Chi Educational Foundation in support of the A's Academy?
Yeah, I think if there's something you truly believe in, that you have to be able to show up for that program or that entity in multiple different ways. And so being able to give your time is so valuable. But I think when you are personally going to invest in something, it's kind of the all-in move. And so even though I'm not a member of Delta Chi, being able to see these men get the bigger picture and come from a situation where it's like I'm coming from my local chapter, but then when they leave, having this bigger perspective of what fraternity means and what they have the opportunity to do on their campus and as their A, like that's moving. And that is what makes me excited to come to work every day, even though I work with women, because it's all very connected. And so I think being able to pay it forward, because I know someone invested at some point in time in me as an officer and as a leader in Alpha Gamma Delta, and gave me the chance to lead and gave me the permission and the voice to be able to say, like, yes, I can do this, even when situations are tough. That I will always support time, talent, and treasure to those types of things. And I think we need to role model more for our collegiate men and women that this is how you start showing that type of support to you. And no matter how little or how big that gift is, it will help reassure that these programs will continue to live on. And so I think that's something I'm proud to be able to do, and honored that Delta Chi has asked me to continue to come and support the A's Academy.
Wow, very well stated. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot, and it's great to hear that that most Greek professionals and most Greeks feel the same way about their organization, about other organizations. Obviously, the Greek community is very, very big on leadership and making sure that we're leading the way and that we're doing things right and that we do the right things as often as possible. Obviously, we have little setbacks here and there, and we have some issues that come up in the Greek community, but by and large, the Greek community does more good for the world, I think, than most communities that you can put together that way. And I think it's awesome to hear that those same types of feelings are outside of Delta Chi as well as inside. So thank you so much, Jenni, for your time today. You've been wonderful. We greatly appreciate all you do for Delta Chi in giving your time, your talent, and your treasure. And we thank you so much for your time today and giving us some perspective from a lead facilitator and one that's outside of Delta Chi. So thank you so much for your time. We hope you have a great day today.
Great. Thank you.